Ramadan, and we're still surviving. Well, of course, I'm still alive, and we're all still alive. So I don't really have anything that I want to talk about today. So we're going to do a review on what happened on NXT Stand and Deliver, and possibly seeing where NXT is going to go forward for the next couple of weeks. So I think definitely let's get straight into it. So the first match, of course, we got the match between the Schism and JCU. I was kind of surprised that the Schism did not win this because I thought it would be a much more interesting storyline if Schism runs like they brainwash the whole university, turn it into like some sort of um, cult, you know. But I mean, I see that JC winning is the best possibility because it elevates everyone in the group, especially Duke Hudson, because they have been building him as like, is he loyal to the university or is he against them? So I think it's really interesting, and also it was a fun idea to include Tyler Bate as well, big strong boy. But I think another point that I want to say is that Everrain was still green. So if you didn't know, Everrain is the daughter of The Rock. She was part of the schism since who knows how long, but she has not ever wrestled in NXT at all, like any televised match or like NXT level up matches, if I recall correctly. So NXT and Delivery was her very first match, and I gotta say she was very green. Her moveset was really limited, and she did not even had a lot of back and forth with Tia Hale. So I think she needs to hone her skill even more, and possibly get showcased more often on television if NXT if the people at NXT wants the audience to care about Everrain, because so far the reason why people care about her is because she's the son of she is the daughter of The Rock, and she's part of the schism, nothing else. So they need to come up with something to make us care about Everrain and makes us want to see her wrestle in the ring. Like give us a reason why we want to see her perform on weekly basis. And then we got the ladder match for the women's title, and I was predicting that Roxanne Perez is going to retain, but surprisingly, Indy Hartwell comes to swoop the title. So from this ladder match, we got a couple of storylines going forward. So Gigi Dolan is still going to have her rivalry with JC Jane, and then for Lyra Valkyria, I think she's going to continue her storyline with Cora Jade, who just returned this week. We'll get into that later. And then for Tiffany Stratton, she had like a pretty gruesome spot on the ladder match. She literally went from the ladder straight to the floor. Like everyone out there failed to catch her. Like literally, she fell back first onto the floor, and it was so hard. It was hard to watch. But I think she's still in the title story. Like Tiffany Stratton, I think she's still in title contendership. She is going to be one of the people that's probably going to challenge Indy Hartwell next. For Zoe Stark, well, she got beaten by Indy Hartwell on yesterday's NXT via roll up, so I'm not really sure what's the future of her. But for Roxanne, she has not really been. She has not show up on NXT this week, so I think they're going to keep her quiet and let others win the title from Indy. So yeah, Corey returned, and she was targeting the NXT Women's title as well. So for now, there are two people possibly challenging for the title: Tiffany Stratton and Cora Jade. So if Cora Jade is going to have a rivalry with Lyra Valkyria for now, then I think Tiffany Stratton is going to be the one who takes the title away from Indy because as much as I hate to say this, I don't think Indy is going to have a long title reign. I think her title reign is going to be really really short. She feels like a transitional champion, and I think they want to move the title from Roxanne Perez, but without her losing her credibility as a champion. So that's why they made her lose the title on the ladder match, give it to someone who is not that credible as a champion, Indy Hartwell, and then move the title from Indy to someone like Tiffany Stratton or Cora Jade or Zoe Stark. And then maybe at some point Roxanne Perez could win it again. That's my prediction. And then Gallus in the triple threat tag team match, they won the title. They retained the title by the help of the returning Joe Coffey. So Gallus will still be on top, and looks like Joe Coffey is going to get himself some gold. He's probably going to challenge for the North American title, or if not, he's going to challenge for um, the NXT UK Heritage Cup Championship because Noam Dar just returned and he was holding that championship. I thought they're going to either wait for the launch of NXT Europe to reintroduce Noam Dar with the title, or if they brought Noam Dar back too soon, I thought they're going to strip him from the title because the title is a NXT UK exclusive. But since he came back with the title, I think Joe Coffey could challenge for the NXT UK Heritage Cup Championship. I don't see him challenging for the NXT title. It's either the North American title or the Heritage Cup Championship. And then the next one, Wesley retained the North American Championship in an amazing match. Really amazing. It showcased everyone in that match, especially people like Axiom and Dragon Lee, because we've seen what JD McDonough and Ilya Dragunov could do on their own. So it was a really great showcase for at least for these three people, Wesley, Dragon Lee, and also Axiom. So let's get into the next one. Johnny Gargano won the match against Grayson Waller. So what's interesting is that I thought this would lead to a main roster debut for Grayson Waller, where he's going to attack Johnny Gargano on Monday Night Raw, which did not happen, and we didn't see Grayson Waller on this week's NXT, which was pretty surprising. And we did not see Johnny Gargano on Monday Night Raw either. So I think the story just ends. They might come back with the storyline whenever Grayson Waller gets called up to the main roster, but I don't think it's going to happen anytime soon. But the problem is Grayson Waller has done everything that he can on NXT. He's not going to win the North American title. He's not going to win the NXT title anytime soon because for now the circle for both titles are more circulated to other people, and Grayson Waller is not having any possibility to win any of those titles, or even in the title contendership for any of those titles. So, with having nothing to do with NXT, I thought they're going to just draft him to Monday Night Raw or SmackDown, but turns out he's not. He's still on NXT. So it will be interesting to see where Grayson Waller is going if he's staying in NXT, and I think he has peaked in NXT. Him winning the match at NXT Deadline, challenging for Braun Breaker, and then fighting Johnny Gargano. I think he has reached his peak performance on NXT. He's not going to become NXT champion. No, he does not need to. That's the thing. He does not need to win any title to keep relevant, to keep being relevant. And in my opinion, he has done everything that he can in NXT. I think it's time for him to move on to bigger things on the main roster. So the next one, the NXT Women's Tag Team title, Alabama and Alba Fire won it. Looks like they would have a storyline between Kiana James, Fallon Henley, Brooks, and Jensen. But it's going to be like segment oriented story instead of like matches story. It's going to be like backstage story, which I think would be pretty interesting. But the new champion is looking for a new challenger, and we still don't know who that challenger is going to be. For now, the only credible tag team in NXT are Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. No, Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. I forgot, she changed her name so many times. So Kaden Carter and Katana Chance uh, is um, the most possible challenger, but I don't see them winning the title. So if they fail, who's going to challenge for the title? Because those are the only females tag team. They lost tag team Avina and Tana Baxley since they broke up, and there are no more women's tag team, especially after Toxic Attraction is done. So I think if they don't have any ideas for the women's tag team title, I think it's best for them to essentially retire the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships because there are no contenders, there are no challengers for the title after Casey Catanzaro and I'm sorry, after Kane Carter and Katana Chance because Val Hanley and Kenna James is not a team anymore probably. Um, Gigi Dollar and Easy Jade is not a team anymore. Dayton Paxley and Ivy now is not a team anymore. So yeah, this this won't work. The NXT Women's Tag Team title is not going to work for the longer future of the brand, in my opinion. So in the main event, we got Carmelo Hayes beating Braun Breaker. So this is very interesting. Where it gets really interesting. Um, Trick Williams hit Braun Breaker with the title in the back, and Carmelo pins him, but he kicks out. Alright. And then Carmelo Hayes hits his finishing move to Braun Breaker, and then he won the title. And then on Tuesday, Braun Breaker attacked Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. A lot of people are saying that um, I think this is justified. Braun Breaker is not turning heel. He's just doing it because he got robbed at Stand and Deliver because Trick Williams attacked him, giving the advantage to Carmelo Hayes. But I don't think that's the case because he essentially kicked out of the attack by Trick Williams and he lost very clearly, in my opinion. So I think the reason why he is attacking Carmelo Hayes, well, he could reason to the NXT universe that the reason he's attacking Carmelo Hayes is because he got robbed, but it won't it won't make the NXT universe cheer for him because they already love Melo, so the NXT universe would justify whatever Melo does. So they would see Trick William attacking Braun Breaker as a babyface move, and seeing Braun Breaker attacking both of them as a heel move. So this would be an official heel turn by Braun Breaker, and it's going to build Carmelo Hayes as a lovable face. And I think this is an interesting topic, but Carmelo Hayes is actually main roster bound. I'm not saying that he's going to have a short reign. I think he's going to have a very long reign. But what I'm saying is that everyone in the main roster, like the main roster audience, are already familiar with Carmelo Hayes and what he has done. Every single time you saw him on the main event show, the crowd knows who he is, and they pop off every time they see him. And I think he delivers a better match than everyone who actually performs weekly on the main event show, which was pretty interesting in my opinion. So I think this is going to build a storyline between Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes until NXT Battleground, and then after that, Braun Breaker is going to lose. Carmelo Hayes is going to be the top guy on NXT, and then finally Braun Breaker is going to make his main roster debut, whenever that is. I mean, it's not going to be immediately because if you remember when Santos Escobar left NXT, he did not actually join the main roster until like months, I think. It's not even weeks, I think after months, he finally made his SmackDown debut alongside with Legado del Fantasma. So maybe it's the same with Braun Breaker. He might going to leave NXT right after NXT Battleground next month, but he will not make his main roster debut immediately. He's going to probably wait for a couple of months and then make his main roster debut. So I think that's what's going to be the future of NXT going forward. NXT has been really really fun. I think it has been a lot more fun than the main roster. It's hard to tell people back then when they say like you need to watch NXT. NXT is good because back then it NXT felt like a show that is aimed to hardcore wrestling fans. But in my opinion, NXT today does not do that anymore. It actually does not only aim for the hardcore wrestling fan base because back then their top people are people who are from the independent scene. Adam Cole with the Undisputed Era, Kevin Cross, Samoa Joe, Finn Balor, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, who else? Um, Johnny Gargano, Tommaso Ciampa, Keith Lee, Dominic Dijakovic, um, Scott Strickland, Isaiah Swerve Scott. Like all of those people came from the independent scene, but in this era of NXT, their top superstars are not independent wrestlers. Well, some of them are, but most of them are actually from a class of WWE where they train in the performance center for who knows how long. And one of those people are Braun Breaker and Carmelo Hayes. They are from the same um, they're from the same class. They literally joined on the same year. So a lot of the like I said previously, a lot of the people on NXT, like the top guys, are actually homegrown talent instead of people who got their names in the independent circuit. So that's why I think right now is the correct moment to introduce NXT to the casual fans who only watch Raw or SmackDown. Unlike AEW, who is still aiming towards the hardcore wrestling fan, NXT has kind of branched. It does not only cater to hardcore wrestling fans, but also cater to casual fan base, even into the moment where people who watch the main event show familiar with who Carmelo Hayes is, and they chant his name even though it's not a, it's not a match in like Monday Night Raw or SmackDown. It's a match in main event, a WWE Network show that not a lot of people watch, but they chant his name. Main event essentially like a dark match, you know, and people were popping off seeing Carmelo Hayes in a dark match. That's how good he is, and that is how good NXT right now, and that is how NXT is not catered to hardcore wrestling anymore. It's now catered to hardcore wrestling fan, but also to the casual fan base. So I think I'm going to end this here. I've been live streaming for 20 minutes, and I think I'm going to end it right here because I've really ran out for the things I want to say. So thank you so much for watching. Tomorrow is Saturday, and the next episode of SmackDown will be airing. Triple H have something to say, and I hope it's not the same thing that he said on Monday Night Raw, because um, it would elevate the um, the message of what he said on Raw. So yeah, thanks for watching. My name is Joe, and I'm signing out.